The Russian State Duma has introduced amendments to increase the terms of imprisonment for committing terrorist attacks, assisting terrorist activities or organizations, committing sabotage and acts of international terrorism. And Putin has recently signed 2 bills to expand the legal penalties for discrediting all Russian personnel waging war against Ukraine. Thanks to this, the Kremlin will pursue an even more aggressive policy of repression, according to analysts at the Institute for the Study of War.
The Kremlin is likely intensifying legal punishments for terrorism-related crimes as part of a larger effort to promote self-censorship and establish legal conditions for intensified domestic repressions, from official report of the Institute for the Study of War.
But even now, the Russian repressive machine is working at full capacity. Only on April the 12th, according to the publication Over the Info, 6 court hearings on politically motivated criminal cases will be held in different regions of Russia. One of them is the case of Ijevsk lawyer Dmitry Talantov about fakes about the Russian army. A law's post on social networks in April 2022 is the basis of the criminal case. In it, he wrote that Mariupol, Irpin and Bucha are extremely Nazi practices. He faces up to 15 years in prison. The Russian prosecutor demanded an even longer term for the politician and journalist Vladimir Kara-Murza.
The prosecutor asked for a total term of all these compositions on which Vladimir is accused, which is 25 years in prison. This is the maximum possible. As Vladimir said, it's quite the terms of Stalin times.
Vladimir Kara-Murza was arrested in April 2022 on charges of spreading false information about the Russian army. Now he is charged with 3 more episodes of treason and participation in the activities of an undesirable organization.
I was sure that after 2 decades in Russian politics, after everything I had seen and experienced, nothing could surprise me anymore. I must admit that I was wrong. Nevertheless, I was surprised that in terms of the decree on closeness and discrimination of the defense, my trial in 2023 left behind the trials of Soviet dissidents in the 1960s and 1970s, not to mention the request term and vocabulary about the enemy. This is not even the 1970s. This is the 1930s. Vladimir Kara-Murza, Russian politician, from the last word at a meeting of the Moscow City Court.
A local resident was fined 30,000 rubles in Khabarovsk for a poster with the word peace.
The word peace was considered as discrediting the actions of the Russian army.
On the morning of April the 11th, security forces came to search the apartment of Rus News journalist Roman Ivanov in the city of Korolyov. According to the Russian investigator, the journalist's post on Telegram became the reason for these cases. Ivanov had previously spoken there to criticize the Russian invasion of Ukraine.
He is charged with 3 criminal cases in which he faces from 5 to 10 years in prison. That's what the investigator said.
What for?
For posts in the Telegram channel, as usual.
Have they taken all the technology?
They have. You can come in and have a look.
2 residents of Yekaterinburg received 19 years in prison for anti-war arson of the administration building, which housed the military registration desk. Despite the failed attempt, the punishment for such actions in Russia turned out to be the most severe.
I decided to take such an action because I didn't agree with the mobilization, the special military operation, and the war in general. With my action, I just wanted to show that there is a disagreement with the mobilization and the special military operation in our city. I wanted to convey my position of disagreement in this way. I wanted my voice to be heard. Roman Nasreyev, accused of committing a terrorist act, from a speech at a court hearing.
Repressions have become tougher in Belarus as well, after the explosions at the airfield in Machulishi on February the 28th, when a Russian reconnaissance aircraft was damaged. Authorities began to detain civilians more often there. Now 100 administrative and 20 criminal cases a week have become the norm for the Belarusian security forces.
Basically, assault group commanders assign us to the squads. They just poke a finger and that's it. That's all you will be. They show whether you understand or not. It doesn't matter. Often even without the map, they just give a walkie-talkie. If someone runs back, execution. Left the trench, getting shot, moved somewhere, execution, drunk, execution on the spot. I am Kostin Maxim Sergeyevich, born in 1986. I give my consent to the video recording. In 2020, I was imprisoned for the use and possession of narcotic drugs, marijuana. I received 6 years of strict regime, ended up in a prison in the city of Toliati, Samara region. On October 5, 2022, I signed a contract for cooperation with PMC Wagner. There were those who fled from the battlefield. They fled. They were caught and got shot. I can't tell their call signs because I don't remember. I just don't remember them. There were cases. I know 100% that my platoon men executed people in the basement, right in front of everyone. Russian regular army always stands behind and digs trenches. They never participate in battles at all. In principle, they probably do not participate. They never participate. Maybe rarely. When for what? What are they standing there for? I can only guess. So that we don't just get out of there, don't run away. Like an execution detachment. Nobody needs us. We are meat. We are convicts. Criminals. Nobody needs us. The fewer criminals, the better. And the prison will be empty. And there will be less costs at all. There are fewer problems. They said it was just because Nazism, neo-Nazism is developed very strongly in Ukraine. Here civilians are raped by them, like a sect. Here they recruit, prepare, and do drugs. They also said that there was a drug plant here. Again, this is a neo-Nazi movement, they said. So something needs to be done about it. We were told we are doing the right thing, like this. But it turned out that everything was not so. It turned out that we were just morons and sheep climbed devil knows where. That is, in fact, when everyone has got into this war, there was no way back. You don't complain to anyone, and nothing, you cannot do anything, there are simply no options. There is support in the highest circles for this war. When I already encountered this, I saw, it turns out we are just morons here, morons. And worse than that, we invaded someone else's territory, someone else's house. This is how I understand this war. I hate them. I just hate my military commanders. Why do I hate? Because they acted like that. They deceived me. Because they simply pushed me for meat. Although they said other things. Due to the fact that there is some kind of disorder. Yes, the percentage of disorder. And yes, the attitude itself is very bad. I don't like their attitude. I don't like their attitude to everything. Just for what they did to me. I hate them. If given the opportunity, I would do my best to destroy them. Of course, I do not like the leadership of the country. I hate it, one might say, because there is poverty in the country. Only those who had money before, all the deputies, the gas industry, all the richest people in the country, they began to earn even more money. And those who did not have money, simple, peaceful people, became even poorer. They can't make money at all. In general, the population was divided in half evenly. That is, the population has only two ways, either to earn money by going to war or to be captured. There is no other way. Or you will die in the war. Only money pushes people to war. No one should go to this war at all, because we are strangers here. This is not our war. We are taking away someone else's land. We are not on our own territory. We are not defending our country as we are presented with. No, it's actually not like that. We got into a foreign state, to strangers, to neighboring people, and we are trying to present that all of this belongs to us. No, this is not ours. This war is not ours. Don't, boys, no. Don't go to this war. This is a wrong thing. This is a very bad thing. We destroy houses. It's just the house that I saw. What happens after the bombings? It's terrible. These are ruins. There is nothing to do here. Live a normal life, try to earn money. You don't have to get into this. For those who can't avoid it, well, I don't know if it is possible or not. That's just my personal opinion. But I would advise you to turn to the Ukrainian side for help, against which we are sent to fight.
Посоветовал бы обратиться к той стране, за помощью, против которой идем воевать.
A protracted war between Russia and Ukraine, huge losses in manpower and equipment, sanctions, pressure, and, as a result, a sharp decline in living standards. Dissatisfaction with the authorities is growing in Russia, and a major defeat at the front could lead to a coup, analysts say. But who will lead it?
Режим не может быть сменен ни народной революцией.
The regime cannot be replaced either by a popular revolution, let alone by elections and so on. The chances are a palace coup, military people, civilians, it doesn't matter. It is important that they are allowed into the palace. The probability is quite high because Putin ruined the life of his elite, ruined the life of his close associates, and they are extremely unhappy. They hate him, so sooner or later it might happen.
So far, only anonymous Telegram channels and such persons as Strelkov-Girkin have been actively expressing their dissatisfaction with the authorities in public.
We are hidden for military defeat.
Faceless, corrupt officials are called guilty of the defeat, and in order to save Russia from them, Girkin and the company created the so-called Club of Angry Patriots.
В этой ситуации
In this situation, people have such views as those of Strelkov-Girkin, but they, of course, would also like to be active. You see, don't underestimate the simple desires of people. That's what they want. They like it. They want it to be so. They want such associations, they make them. The authorities look at this not just with indulgence, I think more or less with approval, because they expect to use them as a strike force that can help keep the situation.
Political scientists are sure that the actions of angry patriots are coordinated from the Kremlin. The goal is to take control of those who are dissatisfied with the results of the so-called special military operation. Even such oppositionists are perceived by the authorities as a threat.
Вот этот клуб рассерженных.
This club of angry patriots is, as it were, such a permitted, non-systematic opposition. The Putin regime can only allow controlled opposition. And apparently in this way, as it were, part of the tension is relieved due to the alleged appearance of criticism. But most importantly, the whole process is controlled.
Experts believe that so far there are no grounds for a coup in Russia. The power vertical repression and persecution provide stability. At the same time, there are signs of preparation for a palace struggle. Putin's close associates create their own private military companies, weaving conspiracies unite into groups.
The point is not even a coup as such, but a sharp aggravation of the struggle of various groups in Putin's circles, including power groups. Relatively speaking, this is what in political science is called the war of all against all. Here is a scenario I cannot rule out.
According to analysts, the victories of the armed forces of Ukraine on the battlefield bring political destabilization in Russia closer. The occupation could be the most painful blow for the Kremlin.